Hello and welcome to another Tuesday Tic Talk with the Jungle Gyms podcast. We are traditionally 16 minutes late, which is actually not the worst that we've ever been, guys. But we are late because we are the Jungle Gyms podcast and that's what we do. I'm Anthony. I'm hosting for tonight. I'll try not to bore the brains out of you all, but I do have three lovely companions who will probably entertain us a lot more. To my right, I've got James. Below me, I've got Gavin, and welcoming back for the second time, Stevie. How you doing, pal?
Which one?
Stevie.
Who's your pal?
We'll go with that.
Very
How
well.
you doing, Stevie? How was Rome?
Very, very well. Smashing, mate. Loved it. Great city. I went to the Vatican as standard and bumped into the Pope and asked him, any chance you can sort this out, mate? And he says, son, there's just some miracles the Lord can't perform. I'm very sorry.
That about sums up for the rest of the podcast because we're shite and we're not going to have kidding. No, it's great that you were in Rome and hope you really had a good time. Clearly, I'm guessing the sun is not out in Rome in March. Still
no,
I think.
Yeah, it's no. It was better than here, but no, it's still not summer weather yet.
And James, yourself, how you been keeping, pal? No seeing you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, all's been good at my end. I didn't make it up to Tannadice, but yeah, it's always been good at my end.
I don't think many of us wanted to be in Tannadice last weekend anyway, but hey ho. Gavin, welcome back as well. I know you were on last week when I was absent. How you been the last week?
Okay, still recovering from the last episode. Not only were we talking about a really poor result, but I think the viewers, anybody who's tuning in tonight who was aware of what happened last weekend, it became a bit of a shit show because we had a few Huns infiltrating, but for some reason we couldn't block any of the rats out of the podcast. I had to endure them for a bit, and then me and James were just saying, right, fuck it, let's just exit this shit show. But I'm good. I was thinking about Stevie when he was in Rome. I've only been in Rome once. It was a good 15 years ago, maybe, and visiting the Vatican. But the day that we were going, George Bush was the president, and he had a meeting with the Pope, and there was like so much security lining up the streets in Rome on the way to the Vatican, and I was quite worse for wear. I'd had too many wines the previous night, and I took a draw of a cigarette, and immediately I spewed my guts out, and all this red wine and pasta for the night before came out, and I was out in the street. Obviously, you want to behave when you're in a foreign country, but I guts out heaving, man, and all because of a wee cigarette. And all the security, like all the Italian police, they look like they mean business, and they're all staring at me like they want to kill me. And I just felt like I'd be the victim of I don't know, some fisticuffs by the Italian police. Thankfully, I went away unscathed. But yeah, that was my memorable moment from the visit to the Vatican. Yeah.
As the saying goes there, Gavin, when in Rome, enjoy red wine and pasta. And yes, twice in your case. So yeah, we are on the Tuesday Tic Talk. There has been international games this week. I believe Scotland are probably playing just now. Traditionally, I think podcasts, we might struggle with some views tonight when football's on, but it is international week, so maybe not as bad when Champions League's on. But with it being international week and trying to keep the police a bit more light-hearted this week, I want to do a wee segment that will pepper in throughout the hour or so that we're live, and we'll call it the World Cup 11 of this century, with the twist that obviously these players would have to have played for Celtic. Now, there's four of us. I'm not going to ask us for 33, 44 players to be listed and all the rest of it because we'd be here all freaking night. But I was thinking, how about we pick a lineup, pick a formation, shall I say, sorry, and then we'll start with the backline, and throughout the rest of the show, we'll build from backline to midfield to forward line. We'll see if we can pick a Celtic World Cup 11.
Can I ask, so obviously Celtic internationals. from this century.
Yep.
And should they have had represented their country in a World Cup? Or
They have to have played in a World Cup. Doesn't
Oh.
necessarily have to have been whilst they're at Celtic, but
Okay.
they have to be Celtic players who have played in the World Cup. So the obvious one, Henrik Larsson, which I'm
Okay.
guessing is the easiest
The
one.
other,
to pick.
the other obvious one, Virgil van Dijk.
No, he's shite. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't going to go with that one, but yeah, they're the obvious ones that I imagine we're picking, but I'm sure we can discuss it and bring merits of other positions. So I'll start it as we've just brought it up before we go into the topics of the podcast, and we'll start with in goals. And James, since you're at the top of my table, do you have anybody in mind, goalkeeper-wise, who has played at a World Cup in this century? Now, as I say that, we might need to stretch that one.
Marcus Hedman.
I think that might be one of the only ones.
Boric?
Did Boris play? Did Boris play with Poland?
I think he was at the 2010 World Cup.
I believe this might be, if anybody can confirm that with me or not. Oh, Gavin just fucked off because he doesn't like this topic. Oh.
No, I
We
don't
have to
think
Google
Hedman
that.
did. I don't think Hedman did.
So long as he played
Shea Given.
at a World Cup.
Shea Given.
Shea Given never played for Celtic this century, though. So, Christ, this is going down like a lead balloon, isn't it, boys?
Boric it would be Boric then.
It would be Boris, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Aye.
But when did they actually play in the World Cup?
I'm sure it was 2010.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
I'm on his wiki just now.
So they were out the World Cup in 2002, 2006, 2010. They did not qualify. So 2002 and 2006. Boris, surely.
Oh, if it's 06 then maybe.
Surely he was there 06.
He'd have been young then. He'd have been just breaking through it like year.
Peter McLaughlin Buffon is a great shout.
Aye.
However, he did not play for Celtic.
He represented the nation at the 2006 FIFA World Cup, UEFA Euro 2008. So he represented them. Don't know if he actually played it. Where he played in it, I don't know. Well, represented, that means played for, doesn't it?
Would have been in the squad. I'm going to allow in the squad probably for one or two games. If this is going to make this slightly easier. I never thought that one through, that goalkeeper would be the first one to stump us on a technicality there. Poland 2006 World Cup.
Fraser Forster didn't get a game in the World
No,
Cup, did
he didn't get a
First not being counted there. Games. Poland, Arthur Boruc started the first game on 9th of June against Ecuador.
Joe Hart.
Fuck Joe Hart, of course. Jesus Christ.
Kasper Schmeichel.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Fucking.
Right, so we've got three options. Boruc did play against Ecuador the first game in 2006. Joe Hart or Kasper Schmeichel. Between the three of us, I think I'm going to go with Boruc for that one quite easily.
I'd prefer to go to Joe Hart.
Yeah. Gavin, we realised during your absence that we're all freaking idiots. Arthur Boruc did play in the 2006 World Cup. We've also got Kasper Schmeichel and Joe Hart as recent goalkeepers. So we do have options in goals.
So you've made this more complicated
100% have, yes.
than you anticipated.
100%.
Cool.
If it was Kasper Schmeichel of last season, then it needs to be Kasper Schmeichel.
Schmeichel in his prime over Boruc in his prime.
Yeah. I think so. And I love Boric.
Probably, aye. If you were to put the three of them up, if you're talking about their prime, then you're probably saying Schmeichel then, yeah.
Gavin, any deviation on that one, or do you want to 3 for 3 it?
I'm happy to go with the group consensus, so we're going with Schmeichel, yeah. Happy to go with that.
Yep, I would have went for Boruc, but we'll happily play democracy here and we'll go with Kasper Schmeichel in goals. Right back would be the next option. I believe the obvious one to start with, or the obvious two, is going to be Alistair Johnson for Canada and Josip Juranovic for Croatia.
Lustig.
We could possibly go back to Jackie Mack.
Yeah, no, Jackie Mack wouldn't have.
Did he play 98? Was he too young for 98?
No, he was
I
in
thought
this.
you said that. I thought you said, because if you're going to go back to next century, I'm going Bobby Collins when you start talking. Right?
What about Tom Boyd?
Again,
he was.
That'd be last century. That'd be the 90s.
No, but was he not still playing for Celtic into the 2000s?
But the last last time Scotland qualified was 1998.
Okay. What about Edson Braithwaite? You know, was he not a right back?
Well, I thought he was a left back.
Was he a left
Yeah,
back?
he was a left back. Could we count Chadu Reid? Did he play in the World Cup?
Don't you wish your right back was Chadu Reid?
Chadu Reid.
So, P. McLaughlin, this century, again, I was a bit vague, but James makes a good technical point. I'm making it this century, so guys like Tom Boyd in Scotland at the World Cup 98, we're probably going to say no to that. The World Cup has to have been this century.
I'd personally
Lustig is a great shout as well.
Lustig, Juranovic, Alistair Johnson.
I'm going to go with on that one.
I like Juranovic, man.
Juranovic, Juranovic for me would be right back.
Got as far as a semi-final. Got to remember that as well.
No.
Yep.
And he had Vinny Jr. in his pocket in that game against Brazil.
That's right, aye.
Centre-back pairing, Stevie already gave us the obvious one. I believe we're all going to agree on Virgil van Dijk, and nobody's going to be dumb enough to say no to that.
The other one I'm thinking...
Sorry, go ahead.
He would have been Tino. I was going to say
Mialbi. Famous injured.
I was going
to say Mialbi.
Big Dolph. You can't no talk about Big Dolph.
Yeah, I think it has to be one of the guys from 2002, 2003, doesn't it? Be it Mialbi or Yus.
Mialbi.
Would Mark Wieper have played for Denmark in the World Cup?
In the 98 one he was.
What about Ramon Vega?
Oh, he was a player.
Again, with that, that'd have been because Switzerland had a drought for a while.
I would still take Mialbi.
Mialbi's my favourite, aye.
All day long.
Was he not captain of Sweden?
Aye, he was. Gavin's got his Mialbi top on. That's the thought. It's Mialbi I think about every time I see that top.
Gavin, you going to disagree with Mialbi then? Go with the
consensus?
I
would have disagreed and said Yusuful Haran. Was he not the first? I don't know. Was he the first sign on the
Anthony,
or was that Chris?
Sorry to go back one. Jeremy Frimpong.
Right back Frimpong.
Has he played
in
the World Cup yet? I don't think he's played the World Cup yet.
I'm sure he was at Qatar.
That's a good shout.
He wouldn't have been a first. He wouldn't have been on the park.
I think I definitely recall him getting a couple of sub appearances.
Lineups against Argentina, he did not play. He was on the bench, did not play against the USA. He did not play against Qatar.
Wait, I think I'm wrong.
He did not play.
He didn't. He didn't get his first cap till 2023.
Go Frimpong's out because he wouldn't have played at a World Cup yet. So we'll leave it as Josip, Virgil van Dijk, and Gavin. I do want to try and agree with you with Yusuf Al because he was my preferred centre back growing up at that time, and I believe, if I'm right in saying, he might not have been the first signing, but I think he was. But he's definitely one of the kind of multi-million pound signings that we made after scouting the Euros, was it?
Yeah.
Previous to that, because I mind we signed him on the back of a good tournament and thinking one of the few times even back then that you went and got somebody who was hot topics sort of thing.
I think he was better in a 3 than a 4. I think that was.
I'm happy to do it.
So if
I don't mind if Valharan or Mialbi, I'm not caring. I liked both of them.
Just listen,
Happy
just
to go with Miyalby.
Yeah.
just
we'll-
have you seen him recently? How good he looks, man.
he just looks the same.
He
Just
looks
a
exactly
couple
the
of
same.
sprinkles.
You could probably give him a pair of Copa Mondials and he would boss the Premier League.
Left back then. If we'd done this in about 3 months' time, we could have picked Kieran Tierney, but alas, we cannot. Who are our left back options? Anybody got that in mind?
Well, I
Edson
said
Bradford,
Bradford.
he got to the
Aye.
final,
Bradford, yeah.
which is
We have to
absolutely
have-
terrifying.
was there not Izagiri? Did he not get a game for Honduras?
If Honduras had played in the World Cup in this century, then yeah, surely to fuck.
Hod the bus. Going back to centre back. Sorry. How could we not have thought about Effie Ambrose?
He can make
How
a
did he
sub
get
appearance
the
just
World
for the
Cup?
Cardinals.
Aye, I'm just seeing Izagiri played in 2 World Cups.
Yeah, 2010, 2014 by the looks of it.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
He was a better player than Bradford, but Bradford got to a final.
I know.
I was still.
And he was-
If we're talking about a Celtic, and obviously in the peak, you're taking.
Nah,
You're
as a
taking-
Gary.
McGinty, we've got a rat in the comments. Let's blast that rat.
That. And away he goes.
That's it. Flex your muscle.
Do software. Yeah, make this one easy and quick. We'll go with Izzy. Izzy
Yeah.
Gary, yeah.
Aye.
Anybody in the comments able to give us anybody else we might have missed at left back? We struggled quite a lot for left backs. Obviously, Izagiri came twice to Celtic and was probably a good 8-9 years overall. Kieran Tierney's been a solid player for Celtic, but obviously not played in a World Cup yet. Danny Fox, I don't imagine did. Or Lee Neal, I don't imagine they played in a World Cup.
We've
Greg
just
Taylor.
not been blessed with
No.
good left backs. There's always been a
We've
trouble.
Right back, we've always had good quality right backs throughout the last 20 years, I would say even 30 years. But yeah, left back, there's been some barren seasons where it's really struggled quite a bit.
I feel like
Some of your
I think the 90s, every one of our left backs were garbage. Stephen
Some of
May
your-
might have been the only half decent one.
Some of your left backs, some of your best left backs have actually been right backs.
Yeah. Mark Wilson. He did play at left back
Danny
for a couple
McGrain.
of games. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a Celtic issue. I think that's just generally
Yeah.
a lack of left backs, a lack of left-footed players in world football overall. The
Although
Pittsburghs
Nancy
are-
managed to play 3 in the one game.
Yeah.
None of them are left backs.
None of them
No.
are left back. Managed to play three left-footed centre backs in the same game.
Right, so we're going for a back four. We never did cement a formation, but we can cement one from this point, I guess. Kasper, Josip Juranovic, Virgil van Dijk, Johan Mjalby, and Emilio Izagiri. Guys, I'm going to throw out 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 as the modern formations, or do you want to go classic 4-4-2?
I go 4-3-3 just to, I think it'd be quicker and maybe easier to pick them.
Absolutely fine with that. Gavin, you looked like you nodded there for a moment. James, go with a 4-3-3. We can slightly exaggerate the left and right wings to merge a couple of players in if we must. So yeah, we'll draw a line under that just now at the defence, and we'll go on to the proper subjects of the podcast. I want to touch on the last game and the game coming up, and I guess traditionally we would leave the preview to the end of the podcast because it's kind of like runs into it, but for the sake of my segue of basically playing in Dundee 2 weeks in a row, well, 3 weeks in a row if you technically count the international week off, we got royally beat, shall we say, against United. 2-0 spanked off them. I don't think we need to touch that topic any more than that. I will leave it to Stevie, though you did miss last week's podcast. Is it anything that you would like to get off your chest in regards to that performance and that result?
It ruined my birthday.
Happy
So
belated
first and
birthday.
foremost that. I do recall when I was first on here mentioning my fears about the rest of the season were going to be the lack of goal threat that we got, and hey ho, we saw it in full that game. We just it felt like all the chickens come to roost. Is that how the saying goes? For what happened this season, it just all happened in that game, didn't it? And I saw the lineup and I saw Iheanacho up front, I'm going, fuck this.
I've said for a while that we've been waiting for that game that kicks the season on, gives us that wee boot up the arse so that we can actually go on the run, because you can't keep winning games 1-0 be last minute winners and stuff like that. As great as the feeling is in that specific time frame, it's not realistic for the whole season. And I like to think, well, I don't like to think, I hate to think of it, but the chances that we're going to get beat again like that last week was probably higher than Celtic going on and beating teams 4 or 5 goals for the next 6-7 games. Alas, my point I'll put into it is I did not expect Celtic to win the 8 games remaining as we went into the United game. I did expect us to drop points at some point. So possibly not the end of the world. We'll talk about that later as well. But to take the defeat that early in the kind of 8-game run that we were all talking about after, especially after the kind of 4 away games, and obviously getting the decent win against Motherwell, we probably didn't expect to get to drop 3 points at that point in time. So all to play for going forward. And with that in mind, all to play for going forward, we are back in Dundee this Sunday. We are playing the other Dundee across the road. Gavin, I'll let you take the lead on this one. How do you see the game coming up the weekend? Do you expect, the players have had a couple of weeks off now, are you expecting a rejuvenated team? Are you expecting any sort of comeback, or are we still a bit kind of timid here?
I've not really given it much thought, but I'm just looking at the league table here. So Dundee are 8th, played 31, won 8, drawn 8, lost 15, scored 31, conceded 49. I think how many games are left before the end of the split, or before the start of the split?
2 games to the split.
2. Right. Well, they've got something to play for. No, they can't reach Falkirk. Falkirk are in 6th, and Falkirk are 11 points ahead. So, Dundee, I don't know, man. In terms of Celtic, don't give you any cause for optimism at all. I genuinely think that we are progressively becoming a worse team as the season wears on. I know that we got through that kind of gauntlet of fire against Stuttgart and the Huns and Aberdeen, but then we were looking to kick on against Dundee United and we failed miserably. I think that our style of play is just becoming worse and worse as the season progresses, and I'm loath to criticise the coaching staff or Martin Neil. Maybe I'm too kind, maybe it's too much sentimentality, but I think all your ire is directed towards the board. Everything starts from there. So don't want to go off at a tangent right now, but no, I don't have any cause for optimism. And the fact that we've had 2 weeks off now, that doesn't fill me with any confidence that we've been able to regroup. Not at all. I know that some of the players have been away on international duty, but it's just another challenge. And it's not like we do well against the Diddy teams now. Sometimes we play like a Diddy team as well. There's just no rhyme, no reason as to the way that we play a match. Sometimes we're shite, sometimes we pick it up in the second half. You just don't know what you're going to get from Celtic right now, but you're certainly not going to get 4 goals, put it that way. There will be a struggle during the game at one point or another. And at the moment, because my kind of emotions have been going up and down, where I'm at right now, I'm kind of like, I'm on the floor. See if we win against Dundee and maybe Hearts and Rangers drop points, then I'll be high as a kite and I'll be eyeing that league title. But right now, I am a glass half empty, man.
That's almost like the neutral kind of point of view, isn't it? The media point of view of how exciting this season's going to be, and the run-in is going to have twists and turns, as they say. Yeah, sure, for the neutral that might sound fun, and for the media that might be brilliant, but see, as Celtic fans, no, I don't want any more twists and turns. I want the season to end, preferably with us winning the next 7 games and also winning the league. But I'm with you there, Gavin. I'm not optimistic enough about what great Celtic performances potentially around the corner. It's game by game who's going to show up. As you said, was it 9 or 10 players were away on international duty? Thankfully, the Japanese boys didn't go far. They literally trained in the barn, so they shouldn't have any jet lag or any issues like that. Although I think Daizen Maeda did get subbed at, was it halftime or the 60th minute? He didn't get a full game anyway. Not that they've been pulling up trees anyway either. James, game looking forward to Dundee at the weekend. As Gavin was saying there, they are bottom half. They don't overly have much to play for in the sense that they can't make the top half split. But I imagine they want to still get a respectable kind of 7th or 8th position and not kind of fall into any relegation potential borderline issues. I don't imagine they're close enough to be in a battle, but they want to be as high in the table as possible. James, do you find the weekend game something to look forward to? Optimistic, pessimistic? Just want to get done with it?
So I see things a little bit differently from Gavin. Sorry, Gavin. I think that you all know where I stand with the board, right? The board is where it all starts. But look at what Askew has done at Motherwell. He's turned Paul McGinn into a football player. So if he can do that, then how can our coaches no turn our players into giving them an actual cogent system that they're going to play? We should have better players than, apart from Rangers, we should have better players than every team in the league. We should be winning. Why are we not winning? It's the board's fault for not signing players, for the absolute catastrophe of Nancy. But isn't it all on the board? There's players there that have checked out. But I'm quite actually. All we need to do is win the next 7 games and we win the league. That's it. That's it. That's it. We beat Rangers at Celtic Park. We beat Hearts at Celtic Park, and the other 5 games. And then there is going to be twists and turns in the league, right? All we need to do is win. We win our next 7 games 1-0, and then I might win it. Because we are only going to win at 1-0. We're not going to scud anybody this season. I agree with you, Anthony. Sorry, it was Gavin. The style of play we have presented this year has become more and more turgid as the seasons went on. I don't know if it's players are just no want to play people, but our style of play has been shocking to us. It's not been great.
I love that it's still technically March. It's the 31st. We've got a couple of hours left in the month.
Yes.
But still technically March. And theoretically, we could score 7 goals and win this league title from 3rd place.
100%.
Seems a bit mental when you say that.
100%.
9 goals wins you a double from the end of March.
Yeah. That's And this, I was on the huddle board earlier on, and somebody was saying they could make an argument for it being a disaster us winning the league this year. Because if we win the league this year, the board it's going to, and obviously I want to win the league this year. That's not the argument I'm making, but we need massive changes. The recruitment in the summer is going to be. It's going to be biblical, the amount of what we need, who we're going to lose, and what we're going to need to bring in. You're not going to get the same amount coming in for Maeda or Hatate or any of these players that are Cameron Carter-Vickers, because they've not played for a season. Maeda's not played all season. Hatate has flitted in and out all season. Carter-Vickers has been injured all season. These players they all want to go. We're going to get the return on them is going to be a lot less than it would have been this time last year. I know that losing Maeda without replacing him would have been a disaster, but would it have been any more of a disaster than what we've got now?
Yeah, probably not. I think if you took, was it 25 for Engels in January. You were talking 20, I think we were for Maida. Was it 15 for Maida in the summer? You probably could have got double figures, 10, 12 million for Hatate as well. So
Yeah.
theoretically, you could have been 60 million for 3 players in the summertime. And think of the difference that could have made. I mean, just spending that money on a summer transfer would have been.
Have any of us got any confidence that the board will spend that money? There was a podcast about football finance, and our wage to turnover percentage is sitting at something like 25%. The average throughout Europe is like 57. Some clubs that are really badly run in the other side of the city are like 70% of their turnover is wages. We're sitting at 23% of our wages is turnover, and
it's mental. I think that was the Business for Sports podcast.
Yes, that was it. Business for Sports.
22 minutes long it was, the section, but if everybody can find it on Twitter, then which was actually quite a good insight.
Yeah, it was a really interesting listen. And so, you know, I totally agree, Anthony, about these players. You need to say if a player wants to go, sure, we should have learnt that with Edward in the 10 season. If a player wants to go, man, you need to cut your losses and let them go, because
it almost doesn't make sense to me, James, because like one of the things that you hear about what the players are fed up about is that they're not getting paid as much as they feel they deserve, and yet we could increase that wage turnover thing by another 10%, still have one of the best financial ratings in world football, and have a happier set of players, and yet the board won't do it.
So bookmark this, right? Because I'm going to be sticking up for the board a little bit, right? I know, bookmark it. So I get what you're saying, but see if we buy somebody that's going to break our wage structure, right? So then Callum McGregor's going in, and Carter Vickers is going in, and Jota's going in,
I know,
and then all of a sudden, you know, so it's. I do get it that we should, you know, but all of us, all these players that are there and in with the bricks, are everybody's going to be getting in, and then all of a sudden, if you give somebody 40 grand a week, then Alistair Johnson wants 40 grand a week, Callum McGregor, all these players want 40 grand a week.
I've heard this said about Newcastle. Like Newcastle are technically the most, they're the richest club in world football based on their owners. So people are going, why the hell aren't they going out and just signing Mbappe, Vinicius, etc.? Well, the answer is because the likes of Walter Mada, Guimaraes, Joe Linton, all their star players are going to say, right, I want my wage doubled. Because no doubt they're like, if you say they signed Mbappe, immediately he goes in as their highest paid player. But then the rank and file, the guys that have gotten them to where they are, they're saying, if you want to keep me, I want my wage at least close to what Mbappe's is, because we're the reason why you're getting Champions League football now.
Way back in the 90s, Ian Wright's Arsenal contract stated that he had to be paid the same as the highest paid player in the squad. So when they bought Dennis Bergkamp, he didn't need to renegotiate his contract. When they signed Dennis Bergkamp, Ian Wright's wage went up to his. There was
a rumour that was the same for Scott Brown. Nobody ever confirmed it, but there's a rumour of Scott Brown, and I think that rumour kind of continues on with Callum McGregor, that he would need to be paid the same as well. Which, if so, then somewhat understandable. I wouldn't disagree with what both of you are saying, but I would argue that it's probably not that straight cut. Players still know what their real worth is. Some 100%. Would definitely tap that door. I'm not saying this is a personality trait of Jota, and obviously, hypothetically, he's not injured for over a year, but Jota is being the talent that he is, literally one of the most talented players in our squad just now when he's fit. He would be right to chat the door and ask, well, if you're signing £50,000 players, I want to be in and around there somewhere, because clearly I am the talent of the team. But I wouldn't expect at the same time that Liam Scales is chapping that door and asking for 35,000, 40,000. I don't think everybody who's a starting 11 player just suddenly demands 40,000.
But it would go up.
It would. But my argument is not to go against it too much, but a kind of example of is even Josip Juranovic, who's in our 11 just now. He left Celtic, I think he was on circa 16,000 at Celtic at the time. Keep in mind, he's a World Cup player
Yes.
at Celtic, and he left to go to Union Berlin. Was it a year and a half he was with us, just shy of 2 years?
Mm.
His wage at Union Berlin when he first went there, don't know what it is now, was 26,000, going on 27,000. Base wage. It is not out with Celtic's realm, as Stevie says as well, increase it by 10% the wage structure. For Celtic to pay a World Cup playing right back 27 grand, 30 grand, that's not outrageous to do.
But that's a different point.
Greg Taylor.
It's got to be some. Sorry, guys. Oxlade Chamberlain's got to be more than 20 grand a week.
Surely.
Yeah, but they can't. They don't call me Shirley. That's only on a Saturday.
My mum's name.
That's a different argument. So the Josip Juranovic thing, that's 100% agree with you, because he's come in. We bought him because he's been in a lower performing league. His wages have been on a lot less, and we've gave him a bump in his wages to give him 16 grand to get him in. And then, so if he performs for a year and a half, then yeah, let's review his contract and bump him up to 26. There's nothing that he could be on 26 grand a week at Celtic. That shouldn't be a drama. But bringing somebody in that we don't know if they're going to, Oxlade Chamberlain, you're right, he's going to be on about 40 grand a week, right? But that'll have been paid to him as a signing on fee plus 20 grand a week in order to get round about this. Yeah, Don Mackay he made an arse of JJ's and Joseph's and GG's contracts, and that's why we never made any profit in the two deals, and I heard that was the reason why he was away. But Don Mackay left, but we need to. You bring in somebody like Oxlade Chamberlain, who is a player with a pedigree, but he's not performed. He's not worth what we're obviously paying him now. He's not worth that. He's not worth any more than Luke McCowan, and Luke McCowan will be on a quarter of that.
On paper, you would think that Oxlade Chamberlain would be on quite a large sum. However, Joe Hart was only on about 15k when he came, so not necessarily, but I would be more inclined to think that he would be demanding a higher wage. Anecdotally, kind of just hypothetically almost, if Josip gets 30,000 at the time, I don't believe Greg Taylor turns around and demands 30,000 as well as being the alternative fullback in the squad. But if Greg Taylor does turn around and demand 30,000 whilst he's on, I guess, 12 or 13 at the time, we surely as a squad, if we have everything behind the scenes set up properly, turn around to Greg Taylor and say, actually, you're not worth 30 grand. We'll sell you. You've got 3 years left in your deal. We'll sell you and we'll go buy somebody who's worth 25, who's better than Greg Taylor. And you bring in a 25 grand player to play alongside Josip, who's the 30 grand player. And they're not going to argue about that, I don't think. You can definitely, as Stevie says, raise it by 10%, give or take, and keep people happy. If you're going to turn over the players, you don't just automatically raise subpar players. Liam Scales isn't going to start asking for 30, 35 in my books. And even if he did, you'd sell him and go bring in somebody who actually is worth 30 grand a week, because we could afford that, surely. Anyway, talking of which, and try and keep the topic going a wee bit, as we're seeing players coming in and out, obviously kind of what we're going to do. Alistair Johnston, he's been on Canada TV recently doing some interviews and kind of media presence stuff. I believe he's due back. Don't think he's confirmed back for the weekend, but I think he is pretty close to being back in the next game or two. I'd imagine he'd be playing by the first game of the split, but hopefully he is back on Sunday. But as Alistair Johnston's coming back to fitness and back onto the training pitch, what's his name is, Julian Araujo, that's his name, is actually back down south. He's rumoured to be injured. He's rumoured to be out for about 8 weeks, and he's down in Bournemouth doing these medical stuff down there. Seemingly unlikely to come back to the club. So it looks like Araujo's played his last game for Celtic. Do you guys, and Gavin, I'll let you come back in first, do you think that that's going to be a big loss, or do you think it's probably timed happily, coincidentally enough, that AJ's coming back and we should be okay for these last 7 or 9 games.
I think it's a bigger loss, having lost Araujo. I think he's been my favourite player since January, since he came in. Obviously, he plays with a lot of character, a lot of personality. He's got dig, and he does actually have quality in both areas of the field. I would have rather stick with Araujo for the remaining part of the campaign. But his injury is an opportunity for Johnson, who miraculously has timed this recovery very, very well. Although he might not be ready for this weekend, then maybe the following game for Celtic, fingers crossed. So it looks like the timing has been very fortunate for Celtic. So yeah, I'm quite relieved at that. But yeah, as I said, I would have preferred Araujo. Hopefully Johnson has got. He plays with personality as well. He's got a good mentality to him, and hopefully he can give his all to Celtic for the remaining games. The only fear though is, am I right in saying that he got injured at the start of the season and then he was out for a few weeks and then they put him back in too early and that killed him? And
it was a European game, I think.
It was a European night. It was a Wednesday night, a Thursday night. I remember it.
Durham Graz, maybe.
Could have been Strumgratz. He was chasing back and he just pulled up.
I probably don't see a recurrence of that, but what I would fear is that, you know, some players after they've been out for a long time, especially players who have never experienced an injury like that before, some players, whenever they come back, they've got that fear that they can't go 100% into tackles and stuff like that. I just hope that that's not kind of crept into his psychology. I hope that doesn't play a part. But as I said, EJ does have a good mentality, so hopefully he's not fazed by that and he can give his all for Celtic. So the timing has more or less been great to see his recovery. Aye.
All else fails, Gavin, we can always play Ralston at right back.
Can I just come in here, Anthony?
Of course you can.
Obviously, from a Celtic standpoint, I want him in there. We need him. He's been sorely missed this season. However, I hope Celtic has his own best interests in mind here, because bear in mind, he's obviously got the World Cup and he's in the back of his mind, and obviously he has a big player for Canada. Canada are one of the co-hosts of the World Cup. He's got a kind of opportunity that very, very few footballers in history are going to get, representing your country while your country is the hosts. And is he the Canada captain? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Oh no, it's Davis. Sorry, but it's still, he is one of the key players, and I hope Celtic say, look, let's not rush him back here. Let him heal from his injury and give that lad the opportunity of a lifetime to represent his country in the World Cup while they're hosting it.
I don't give a fuck about Canada.
All jokes aside, and trying to be serious, a game against Dundee, if Celtic have prepared properly and we have plenty of other adequate players around, playing Ralston against Dundee shouldn't on paper be an issue.
That would be Donovan, I think. It would be Donovan.
Shouldn't be an issue.
I would prefer Donovan.
But
he was excellent against Rangers.
He was, and I actually do prefer him. I would play him probably more than Ralston anyway. I think he's the one that you want to be as the backup rather than Ralston, because Ralston's time has, for me, been and gone. He's not getting any better. He's getting older now. But yeah, it is what it is. Moving into the World Cup 11 again, we've got a midfield trio to pick. This is normally one that probably, if we said pick your 3 best midfielders of this century, most of us would probably want to pick Scott Brown and Victor Wanyama. However, neither have played in a World Cup. So maybe a wee bit more difficult than we think, this one. World Cup 11 from century have to have played in a World Cup this century and played for Celtic at some point this century. Who's your midfield 3?
Keane.
Lundberg. Yeah, Keane's a good one. Lundberg.
Keane, Lundberg in a central
Nakamura.
position.
Nakamura never played at World Cup.
Did he not?
No.
Did he not play 2002?
What the fuck?
I don't think so. I don't think he played
I
2002.
need to Google that. Surely he played 2002.
I'm
I've got
sure he
the
played in the
90
World
cup,
Cup.
Japan.
By the way, see, Lundberg, did he play in a World Cup this century, or was it the previous century?
Yes, I remember him playing against England in 2002.
Nakamura played in 2006. You're
Yeah,
right.
Nakamura's got to count. But would you play, maybe it's just my memory, would you play Lundberg and even Nakamura in a central midfield trio?
I just think that the boat because Youngbill was more a winger, wasn't he?
I would, my head was going to go for Nakamura at right wing as a kind of purging the positions a little bit.
Can I just
Bulgaria
go-
never cough because Petrov's ruled it, isn't he?
Tom Rogic.
Oh yeah.
Shout.
Tom Rogic, good shout as a number 10 sort of position.
Rogic is a 10.
Any disagreements on that, guys?
No.
We
I
can
feel like
amend that.
There's got to be another obvious one we're missing here.
Did Oxley Chamberlain play in a World Cup for England?
Thomas Gravison.
The most uncoachable player ever.
That's a good shout because you do probably want a defensive midfielder and an attacking midfielder. So Rogic and Gravison would fill that in. You would then need still some solid natural midfielder. Are we going with Keane? Is that too defensive with Gravison?
Keane didn't play.
Keane didn't play. He chucked it.
Maybe he was sent home.
Did Ki Sung Young play in a World Cup?
Ki Sung Young.
Yes.
I thought that's what
Aye,
you said,
Key.
Key.
Aye.
Gavin said Key.
He was 2, I'm sure. 10 and 14.
So Key
Are we
is the
going-
hold. Key is holding.
Key, Gravison, and Rogic.
Nakamura and Rogic. Or are you moving Nakamura up one?
Or we change it. Are we going to cheat here and go off, change it to a 4-4-2?
4-2-3-1. That's still the same as a 4-2-3, really, isn't it? It's just how far up you're playing Rogic.
What about Juninho?
He won it.
Again, you would not play him. I would not play him in a central midfield, not in a flat 3.
He'd have to play up front,
Yeah,
off the striker.
So the front three is going to be crowded. Then let me tell you.
front 3 is going to be.
Is that no just define Celtic, right? That when you try and pick a World Cup 11, you struggle for goalkeepers. Back 4 is kind of a wee bit ropey. Midfield, defensive midfielders we're not that great, but forward going flair players, there's millions of them.
Number 10's coming out of our arses.
Aye. Right, so where are we sitting on the midfield then? We're going to go with Key by the sounds of it, and we're going to go with Rogic by the sounds of it.
Aye. I can't think of another solid midfielder, because if you're playing a 4-3-3, you're going to kind of want.
I still stick with Gravison.
A 6, an 8, and a 10. So you've got Key playing in the 6, you've got Gravison playing in the 8, and you've got Rogic playing in the 10.
Aye.
Did Neil Beaton play in the World Cup?
Who?
Neil Beaton?
I don't think.
No, Israel have never been in the World Cup.
Did Stefan Johansson play in the World Cup?
Norway.
No, because Norway were like Scotland. They didn't qualify since '98.
Really?
Aye. They were in the same drought as us.
Moy is a shout.
Aye.
Moy was a great player on his day.
Smell the glove is coming in with Lubo.
Very underrated. Very
I
underrated.
believe Smell the glove, you missed.
Somebody's just put in a comment. Lubo played in the 90, Italian 90.
But we said this century.
This century, aye.
Smell glove. We're going for World Cups that have been played this century. So from 2002 onward, World Cups. They could have technically played both sides, but yeah, they'd have to have played in the World Cup this century. Right, I'm going to leave this as Key, Rogic and Gravison and move on with the topics. However, if anybody wants to come back in with a replacement, I'm assuming for either Key or Gravison, by all means, give us a wee nod and we'll change that. So let's say, going on to the next topic, kind of keeping it similar to what we were on before, is looking into the next 7 games, potentially 9. As we joked about earlier, we could technically win this league and a double with only scoring 9 goals in a still March. We have 2 to go. I believe it's Dundee. Gavin, you had the fixtures up. Who's the second game after Dundee?
St. Mirren.
I will have.
St. Mirren.
Double header,
Dundee,
isn't it?
St. Mirren, on paper, shouldn't be difficult. And then obviously the split afterwards, you're looking at Hibs, Hearts, Motherwell, Rangers, and
Falkirk. Hibs, Rangers, and Hearts at Celtic Park.
at home.
Motherwell and Falkirk away. I reckon that the first we'll play Rangers in the first game. Hearts will probably be the second. Then we'll be away 2 games, and then last game will be at home. That's what I think.
James, I disagree. I think they're going to have Hearts and us in the last game. I think the TV, I think Sky Sports will say we want either Rangers or Hearts or Hearts Celtic as the last game.
Yeah, I can see your point, and you might be right, because obviously they can't have a decider between us and them, but us and Rangers, but maybe they would allow a decider with us and Hearts.
Aye.
I hate to say it. Can you imagine Hearts winning the league at Parkhead on the final day?
That's
Oh,
why
God.
I'm in 2 minds about it. I think like it could work in our favour, because if there's an all to play for affair, but it's a winner takes all kind of affair, we want it at home, but we're on the risk of if Hearts win it, we'll never hear the fucking end of it.
I'm with you, Stevie, that the TV companies will try and push that because they've obviously never been allowed to do that.
Aye.
It's always been Celtic and Rangers. But I think the police would step in because the potential disaster. Even Hearts Rangers in the last game, they can't trust Rangers fans.
No.
Celtic Hearts, I don't think they can trust Hearts fans, and they'll lump us in regardless anyway. I think they'll want to try and defend that. I feel like they might try and make Celtic Hearts a game or 2 earlier and see if there is a title decider without being the last day. So it almost kind of cushions the blow. But
the way the nature of Scottish football now, Anthony, every game's a powder keg. Because think about this, because what if it's not? What if it's Hibs and Hearts? Do you think they're going to let an Edinburgh derby go the last game of the season? What Hearts could win it? No way.
No. So they're all going to, in that way, you almost admit that they're not going to do Hibs, Rangers, or Celtic as Hearts' last game. So Hearts' last game is going to be Motherwell or Falkirk.
Yes, and it's the same. It's the same with us.
So it's the same with us, yeah.
Aye.
So
Aye,
our first 3 games are probably going to be Hearts, Rangers, Motherwell in our first 3 games.
I think it's going to be Rangers, Motherwell, Hearts, Falkirk, Hibs. That's what I think yours is going to be. Falkirk in the midweek.
Hibs at home, aye.
Aye, Hibs are at home.
Aye.
That's how I see. That's how I see it. I see it being Rangers first game, Motherwell second, Hearts third, Falkirk then Hibs. That's how I see the split for us.
Regardless of the order of the games, though, Gavin, kind of got your opinion on it earlier. Don't need to put you under pressure to try and say anything different. But those run-ins of games, especially the 5 after the split, where's your head with that? What, are you still every game's a toss of a coin sort of thing?
I think our track record is yes, every game is a toss of a coin. It doesn't matter who you're playing. But we've dropped points against Dundee United away and Hibs at home, where the majority of people might not have anticipated that. But then we get results in harder places like in Ibrox. And we just failed to build up consistency. And as James said earlier on, we failed to play a good style of play. Sometimes we can be turgid, and it takes half time for Mark O'Neill to speak to them, to give them some words of wisdom, and then they go out. Sometimes we get worse in the second half. There's no pattern. The only consistency is inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
Funnily enough, crazily enough, I could probably see us beating the Huns at Parkhead. I could probably see us beating Hearts at Parkhead, if everything was on the line. But it's like the game away to Motherwell, the game away to Hibs, which I think we have to play away in
No, it's
Easter
Hibs,
Road.
Hibs at home.
Is it Hibs at home? Pardon me. I probably have more uncertainty about those games, and just to put together a win and run, which we require to do. As I said right now, I know that I'm rephrasing my optimism. I'm rephrasing my pessimism here, but I'm at the moment, I'm a glass half empty man. It might change at the weekend if we get a result and other teams drop points. At the moment, it's quite
So,
dark.
Steve,
Where I'm at.
let's presume that we get the win at the weekend, and let's presume that the other two drop points. They get draws, which theoretically will close the gap to 3 and 3 with Hearts. I think will be equal with Rangers.
Three Hearts and a one above Rangers.
Yeah.
So
if that's the case, Stevie, how do you see the running going? Can you see that being any catalyst for us going forward?
You would think so, but I thought the win against Motherwell was a catalyst, and how wrong I was when I saw that dog shit performance against Dundee United. As Gavin it's just put it so elegantly, the only consistency with Celtic this season has been inconsistency. Again, probably I'm being too pessimistic. Maybe that's exactly what we need. We need to just get 3 points against Dundee, and luckily both Hearts and Rangers they drop points at the weekend. Where I'm more hopeful of is that as bad as we are, Hearts and Rangers are not great teams either, and I don't believe they're going to go maximum points for the rest of the season. For the start, they've got to still get to play each other for a start. I mean, that's certainly something I hope happens when the weekend that they eventually play each other, they draw and we win, whether it's against Hibs or Falkirk or whatever. That's one of the areas that's keeping me optimistic to some degree. But I am a bit like Gavin. I'm just. I just after Dundee United result, I just said to myself, "That's it."
We blinked first.
Aye, did Dundee as well has been the graveyard of our season. I'm not even sure we'll win this game on Sunday.
So my feeling is, and I think that if we won every game 1-0, we would win the league, right? I have got no confidence that we are going to win every game 1-0. That's where I am.
James. I mean, you said earlier, all we need to do is score theoretically 7 goals to win the league. We also need 7 clean sheets. We ain't keeping 7 clean sheets.
What I mean is, see if we win 7 games, if we were to win the next 7 games, we will win the league because Hearts and Rangers will drop points out with us playing us. They will. Hibs are not going to want Hearts to win the league, right? Rangers have got to take points. Either if Rangers don't take points off of Hearts, then Rangers are out. So I think that but I have got zero confidence that we will win every game, and this is the first time in 25 years I've been saying that I can't see us going in a 7-game winning streak, right? Do you know what I mean? I can't see us going in a 7-game.
Talk about that, James. There's a great comment somebody just left there. If Negrin doesn't score, who is?
I know it's that. And see, so we're going to in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about who World Cup winners. We don't need to go to that level, surely. We're going to look at World Cup players that have played for Celtic, and the riches of Celtic strikers that we have that have played. When you look at this team, it's terrifying, and without repeating myself, that's all on the board. All on the board, and the narcissism between no wanting to give Brendan Rodgers any more money to spend because they knew he was going to be leaving at the end of this season. He was going to be leaving at the end of this season because they wouldn't give him any more money because he wanted to bring in the next level of player. I understand that we probably couldn't afford that, but rather than saying no, the board wrote this season off way back in September. The exact same thing as they done in the 10 season, because in the 10 season, if they'd get rid of Neil Lennon in the September-October, when it was obvious he had lost it and brought somebody else in, I'm not saying we would have won the 10 season, but something might have changed. They write off a season very quickly because we don't want to spend any money. We don't want to do this. it's a shocker, an absolute shocker. I've just got no confidence that we'll win 7 games. So hopefully we can win the 2 in the cup.
So I started this podcast saying that we're going to be a little bit more positive this week.
I was positive there. If we win all our games, we'll win the league. If we win,
we will. But as the comments are saying, 7 games, we've not done that in about 17 months. I think it's from P. McLaughlin there. Gavin, 7 games is a hard thing to do. I'm hoping I can steer you into a little bit of a positivity here. We do have a semi-final against St Mirren coming up. Now, being a semi-final means that we only have 2 games to win a silverware, semi-final and final. And the final would potentially be against Dunfermline or Falkirk. Now, obviously, we just got beat by Dundee United, so we can't really take anything for granted. But surely, if we kind of accept that the league is probably just a wee bit too far for us now, how do you see, Gavin, a cup run? 2 more games, get a bit of silverware, try and end the season on a bit of positivity?
Well, I think that we'd be the overwhelming favourites to win the Scottish Cup. I know that you could statistically say, well, how do you come to that conclusion? And obviously St Mirren have already beaten us before in the last cup tie. So yeah, quite easily we could go out. Our players could still have like PTSD from the last time that they played St Mirren in the League Cup final. I still think Celtic will win, and more than likely they'll win the final. But because your bread and butter is the league, it feels so hollow to talk about winning the Scottish Cup and to have any feeling of. Well, obviously, we all grew up in the 90s at different stages, but we all witnessed the 90s. We knew what it was like. Like even that Scottish Cup final in 1995 when we won against Airdrie, we knew that was jubilation. But we were starved for success. Right now, it's kind of the opposite. We've had so much right now, and for us to lose the league but to win the Scottish Cup, I would feel empty. Yeah, it might bring a smile to your face on the day. We'll have a couple of beers, but on the whole, so hollow, man, so empty. It's just a horrible way to finish off. It's the best way to finish off a bad season if you lose a league, but it pales in comparison. The disappointment will reverberate until the start of next season, and every day we will be dogging the steps of the board. We will be judging every single thing that they say, every action that they do. This summer is going to be forensic examination of what they do to right the wrongs of this season so far. We will be furious, man. I'm already feeling myself getting angry right now. The cup win does fuck all, man. Sorry.
No, I was hoping to get a wee bit of positivity, but even as you were speaking there, you're very much right. It's yeah.
It would just be like a shrug of the shoulders, like, oh, at least it was a trophy of the season.
Perhaps if the cup final was before the end of the season, before your fate was firmly, written off, maybe that cup win gives you a wee bounce before the end of the season. But yeah, it'd almost be, as Gavin says, a kind of hollow victory. And I don't believe, does the Scottish Cup get you anything these days? Does it still get you a European spot?
The Scottish Cups, you get into you get straight in, maybe not straight in. You're in the Europa League. Second in the league is the Conference League this year.
Jesus.
So winning the Europa League.
You just had that cracking response there, Stevie.
Would we be better in that case winning the Scottish Cup?
Is that how bad the coefficient's got? The second in the league is now in the conference.
It's Champions League, 2 conferences, and then the cup would be Europa.
And by the way, that's something else on the board.
Yeah, 100%.
As our biggest club in the country, fuck off Rangers supporters. We're the biggest club. Don't give me any shite. We've got the bigger stadium. We've got the bigger support. We're more internationally known. Fuck off. We need to be doing better in Europe.
100%. And
it's one of the ones I'm willing to take in the chin of other supporters. It's quite a Celtic's shite performance in the Champions League and Europa League that our coefficient is so dog shit. It's true.
Well, Matt, it's I hate to be a startle, right? I hate to take your thingy, Gavin, but statistically, our coefficient, we have produced more of our coefficient than Rangers.
Aye, but James, when you see Bodo Glimt, when you see
100%,
Midtjylland,
100%. We've underperformed in Europe for 20 years. 20 years we've underperformed in Europe with the odd blimp.
Ajax since 2019 got to the Champions League semi-final. Their budget is only mildly bigger than ours. We've actually got a bigger stadium.
But you know what? All of that can be put on the board. That's
not all of it,
coaching. That's our lack of coaching.
But you know what I mean? It's
because you're loving this decline.
I just don't need to do anything. Usually it's me that's turning it down. No, I don't want us to steer too negative. And again, I don't want to moderate ourselves because I'm more than known for being overly negative myself. But I think to save all our own anxiety and blood pressures, it's probably try and keep something positive. We'll can that just now, and we'll move on to the final third in our World Cup 11, which is the front three. Before we do technically, I'm going to just run that midfield trio of Key, Gravesen, and Rogic. Any changes? Anybody bring anything to it?
Can I just ask, did Oxlade-Chamberlain play in the World Cup for England?
I assume he must have, surely.
He go fuck himself.
Aye, fuck him. Shite.
For that,
he has to.
Ivory Coast.
He's played for 7 years between 2012 and 2019. He has to have. Would you want to put him in?
He was the next big thing. In his peak, at his peak, then
yes.
know the Oxlade-Chamberlain that we've got playing for us now.
So seeing that, I did say that in their peak, and I'm not meaning just Celtic peak. I just mean peak players.
Mm-hmm.
Take it, we drop Key out of that and play Oxlade-Chamberlain next to Gravesen and Tom Rogic just in front of them.
See, I would be dropping Gravesen. I'm sorry.
Would you not actually be dropping Rogic because Oxlade-Chamberlain was a 10 and he's also peak.
Yeah, but my erection for Rogic wouldn't allow that.
I know. Rogic for me was probably my favourite player of the first Rodgers era.
Best bit of news so far tonight.
That is.
Hey, Idasco.
Matoma.
He looked class when he came on Saturday.
Gavin, opinion on the Ox getting into that midfield trio and where?
I think Key was never a pure fan favourite, but I think we've got far more sentimentality to Key than what we do right now for Oxlade. The only thing Oxlade has really done is that goal against Livingston. But I think if you're talking about it from just a purely football point of view, Oxlade-Chamberlain on his day, injury-free, is a very, very good player. But I'm happy to keep Key in because he played for Celtic for longer. We never really disliked the guy. He kind of came with that fanfare, didn't he? There was a commercial aspect, but there was a lot of potential. He looked good, and we hoped that he was going to be a really good player, but it didn't quite
work out. He looked good down south. He looked good. The scene down south looked good. He was another one of these players that didn't really suit the hurly-burly of Scottish football. I think that on a technical level, Key was, because I don't know what I was doom scrolling and some of his games came up when he was playing down south and he scored some crackers. He scored some absolute belters.
Remember he scored a world in the cup final against Motherwell 2011, was it?
Aye.
So I still need an answer on the Ox. Where did he get into it? Who are we deleting? Because I do agree that on paper, at peak level, Oxlade-Chamberlain is probably better than Rogic and Key.
Gravesen has been my most disappointing Celtic signing of all time, possibly. Nowhere near it. I'm joking about that all time. But Gravesen was really disappointing because you're buying this guy for Real Madrid and you're thinking he's going, and he was.
Tommy Gravesen was one of those players early. I say it, I was still quite mature at the time anyway. But he was one of the first ones that I started realising formations really fucking mattered.
Aye,
played him in a flat 4-4-2, and he was absolutely wrong formation for that player. If you played him in a three-man midfield, sitting deep, he would have excelled.
Mm-hmm.
But totally wrong formation for him.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Did Jiri Janisic play in a World Cup?
I was
that's
thinking
a
him
good
earlier.
one.
Oh, that is a shout.
He was cracking. No a cracking signing for us, but a cracking player. He was an
Ah,
alright
another
signing
one.
for us.
Did we know famously get him the cheap because Chelsea knew his right knee was done or something?
Aye, but he's still a cracking player.
Aye.
Captain Czech
Oh.
Republic, I'm sure. Oh wait, no, Rosicky with her.
I don't think so.
See, Czech Republic are better known for being a Euro side than the World Cup side, though, aren't they?
Mhm. Yeah.
So they qualified in 2006. They did not qualify in 2002. And did
He would
not
have
qualify in 2010.
It would have been 2000 because it was Strachan that signed him.
Would he have played at the 2006 World Cup?
Maybe.
You're still quite young when he signed for us. Would it have been about 26, 27?
Yeah.
Czech Republic 2006
No, he
first game
didn't.
against United States.
He didn't play at World Cup. 23 caps for the Czech Republic. I've just googled it. He played in World Cup qualifiers, including playoffs, but he was never selected for a World Cup final squad.
That's a shame. Yeah, looking at those games and I don't see his name popping up anywhere. That's a shame. So the Oxley Chamberlain again. We still need to filter him in. Are we taking Gravison out? Is that what we're agreeing to?
Yeah, do that.
I just can't take Roderick out of that team.
No, I couldn't take Roger out. That's a hill I would die on.
Gav?
No, I don't mind keeping who we've got in.
Cool. Leave it there. Key, Roderick, Ox. And moving on finally to the front three. Now, I said at the start of this show, obviously, Henrik Larsson, I'm guessing, is going straight up front. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that one, surely. Gavin, you look like you want to disagree with it.
Not a chance.
The other one, Robbie Keane.
Aye.
Yeah.
Pierre Van Hooijdonk.
Nakamura.
I'm sure I've heard before Van Hooijdonk didn't play a World Cup. Did he?
Did he play this century in the World Cup?
2002? No, because they wouldn't have qualified.
Check.
Because Ireland put them out in a playoff.
No, it was 98 he played in the World Cup.
Aye.
You're right.
Good man.
Robbie Keane.
Maida. On the left.
Yeah, we're not playing Maida.
Has Samaras played?
I was going to say Samaras. I was going to say Samaras.
Fuck no, Maida goes ahead of Samaras. Fuck off.
No
Oh,
chance.
no,
No
Samaras
chance.
over Maida.
Samaras every day over Maeda.
Absolutely.
Oh, fuck off.
Every day. Every day.
So we said that Roy Keane didn't play in the World Cup. Did Robbie Keane play in the World Cup?
Aye, Robbie Keane did.
Yeah.
He scored in 2002.
Aye, Robbie Keane, but Roy Keane only didn't play because he fell out with Mick McCarthy.
Aye.
Can I suggest as a front three, and we're merging players here. Larsson on the left, slightly, because he did start out as a left inside forward sort of thing. Robbie Keane up front and Nakamura on the right.
John Hartson.
No, Wales didn't qualify for a World Cup till like
2002.
No,
2002.
they didn't. No, Wales didn't qualify. Wales famously went like 60 years without qualifying for a World Cup.
Wales did not qualify for that World Cup, no.
Did Zarabski play?
Nah, we've...
The Polish
no.
boys. Magic.
And obviously you've got Girinho.
You're desperate to get Juninho into this team.
Not really. I was a massive Brazil fan, but I was never a big Girinho fan.
He was a great player, though. And again,
Aye, was.
in his peak. Not at Celtic, but at his peak. He was a great player.
Celtic's
Tingle,
only
man.
EBT.
EBT.
Celtic's only EBT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Paid him straight back, though, as soon as we realised.
Aye.
Was the Huns still shout about?
Yep.
Aye. Aye, so-
Scored against Germany 2-2. Excellent. Do we want to merge this back to a 4-4-2? Put Robbie Keane and Henrik Larsson up front?
and
Would have
put
got next manager
Nakamura on
as
the
well.
right side of midfield, and put Nakamura
Nakamura
on the right side.
Aye. Then we just need to drop a midfielder, probably Key, and find a left winger.
Left wing.
Guys, I need to exit tonight, but
No
thanks very
worries,
much,
Gavin.
guys. Okay,
Good seeing you again, pal.
cheers. Thanks very much, mate. Cheers. Bye bye.
All the best. Change it to
Juninho on the
4-4-2. Juninho left, Nakamura right, Larson, Robbie Keane up front, Gravison and Roderick in the midfield.
That works actually. Aye.
No, sorry, Oxley, Chamberlain and Roderick in the midfield.
What about Oxley Chamberlain in the right?
Oxley, Chamberlain on the right, Nakamura on the left.
Aye.
So Naka left.
Or
Oxley,
how about this?
Keane and Larson up front.
James is fucked off, as you me.
Yeah.
Aye.
We do not want Freddie Lundberg, no.
Nah, fuck him.
That just leaves the midfield quite lightweight, if you ask me. Ends up being Keane and Roderick. Roderick is not doing a lot of heavy work for us.
James is back.
Let's have another think about it. We'll come back to it again. We'll move on to the last point of the podcast tonight, which James will bring you in for most of this because I believe you have a bit more of an ear to the ground when it comes to this stuff. But the Green Brigade, they are banned from Celtic Park, obviously. They've been asked pretty much to stay away from away games now as well. And they have came out last week, I believe they were on the Cynic podcast. One of the guys came on, done a bit of an interview. I've not heard it yet, but my takeaway from the headlines of what I can see is basically that Celtic have been caught out lying about the whole situation again, that they're passing the buck to obviously the safety advisory group and the police, lying through the teeth and basically making the Green Brigade jump through hoops that the rest of the fans probably aren't being asked to jump through either. This isn't the first time, not for this season, not for this decade, that there's been contradictory kind of reports from the two sides whenever these meetings are happening. We have seen minutes from meetings in previous meetings this season, which neither side are denying the minutes, but when you read them, the club do not come out of these meetings looking pretty at all. So taking everything with a pinch of salt is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fully side with the Green Brigade on everything. I'm also not going to kick them when they're down, sort of thing. They are, in my opinion, on the right side of this debate, and the club's on the wrong side. But James, I believe you probably be a bit more clued up than what I would be. I'll let you take any opinions or comments you want to add on to that.
So yeah, I watched the Cynic. First of all, I'm not a member of the Green Brigade, but I'm part of the collective, and the board have. They know the Green Brigade. They know the Green Brigade split the board. It's a very easy split, because there's people that hate them and there's people that love them. Some people think they can do no wrong, and some people think that they're an absolute stain in Celtic. I don't think they're either of the two. I think they make mistakes. I think they can be a bit right. Even though politically I do kind of align with them, but I think they're neither messiahs nor naughty boys. They're Celtic fans first and foremost. The first problem is it's collective punishment. So Celtic is the most surveilled stadium in Britain, and our standing section is the most surveilled section of that. And the board haven't been able to show us any pictures of these two guys that allegedly assaulted stewards. I'll say first of all, if they did assault stewards, then you need to get them away. You need to get them out. But let's see if they did or not. Because of that, the whole Green Brigade's been banned. Now that's like me arguing with a steward at Celtic Park, and then my whole CSC being banned because I've argued with a steward. It's a ridiculous collective punishment. The board then lied about everything. Now the advisory group is just that, an advisory group, but the board are saying that you cannot get back because the advisory group have said you can't get back. Where it's come out recently that Rangers told the advisory group to do one when they said the same thing about the Union Bears. Now, say what you want about the Green Brigade, right? The Green Brigade have never invaded a pitch and attacked members of an opposite team's staff, attacked members of an opposite team's football players. The Green Brigade have never done that. The Green Brigade have they might sing songs that some people don't find palatable. It's a totally different thing. They've never attacked anybody. The Rangers board told the advisory group to day one. Hargreaves, obviously an Aloysius boy along with Nicholson. Nicholson's hiding behind him. The last collective meeting, we had tried to get a meeting with the board. The board said you need to wait a fortnight in order to get board members or people that can make an executive decision there. Then the meeting arrived, and lo and behold, there was no executive members there that could make a decision. That was the night before Stuttgart. The collective decided to go ahead with the protest. It was nowhere near a unanimous vote, but they went ahead with the protest. But that was purely because the board wanted to do the same things they'd done earlier in the season and put a pin in it. Don't protest, and we'll talk about it again later. We'll move it a wee bit down the road. It's been an absolutely ridiculous state of affairs for the board this year. They are so out of touch with what the Celtic fans want. We're not always right, but we can see what's happening there. We've spent more than £15 million. We spent £15 million paying tax this year that we wouldn't have to pay if we were a fully functioning board that was actually spending the money that we've got in the bank on players and wages. We wouldn't have £15 million that we've not got to spend in players now, that we've just gave there you go, pay tax because we need to keep money in the bank. It's an absolutely ridiculous state of affairs. The Green Brigade, so the Cynic podcast was a really good podcast, and you're right, the Celtic board do not come out of it well at all. They've obviously been lying about the police reports and the advisory group saying that, trying to pass the buck that it's them. It's all these bad guys that are saying it. Celtic board, we would let you back in a minute, Green Brigade, but these other groups are saying that you can't come in. It's utterly ridiculous. To think that with no investment, spending no money in January getting loan players, the disenfranchising of the Celtic support, the fact that we are actually so close to winning the league this year it's frankly baffling. That just shows you what you said earlier on, Stevie, that Hearts and Rangers aren't that great. People talk about, and I know I said about we needed a massive rebuild in the summer. People talk about the only reason why Rangers and Hearts are this close to us is because we have had such a bad year. If we had bought even a couple of decent players, we'd be 10 points clear at the top of the league. If my granny had bought us, she'd be my grandpa. But that's how we don't need to do a lot to catch up. If we don't win the league, we don't need to do a lot to catch up. We just need to have a good window. But again, sorry, Anthony, have you got any confidence that this board will have a good window?
I don't. I'm one of these guys. It's no, I told you so. But I've been one of these guys since long before we even started this podcast, but definitely from the start of our podcast 4 or 5 years ago now. I've always been the board are fucking holding us back. The board are shit. They're
100%.
They're natural. Can I say words? They're incompetent. We'll just change the fucking
You're
words.
right. You're right.
And they're stale. I was banging the drum about the idea that general companies and boards of various different industries will change their board up every 3 to 5 years to stop things going stale. Yet we've got guys, not even including now Peter Lawler, who's at the door, but you've got guys 20 plus years.
Yeah, that was the first thing. That was the first thing the collective spoke about was a functioning board. The NEDs should leave every 3 to 5 years. You shouldn't have an NED for any more than 3 to 5 years. That's basic corporate governance. Brian Wilson's been there for 20.
Yep. If an NED, I believe if an NED is there for more than 5 years, it's not by legal terms, but most companies are highly advised that they need to be actual directors. They have to stop being non-executives. They have to actually be put on the board for various different reasons of governance of a business, not just legalities of it. We are completely stale. You mentioned there about the tax. Obviously, we paid £15 million circa in tax. Now, I'm no tax expert, but I'm pretty sure to pay 15 million, that would have been 40% of whatever profits we made, which means we probably banked about 20 million and gave HMRC 15, which means that 35 million pound we made last year above and beyond our operationals. Why are we not spending that 35 million? I don't care what it's on. Why are we not spending that 35 million?
Exactly. We and I want us to be fully sustainable. I don't want us to have a sugar daddy, right? I want us to be a sugar daddy. I don't want us to have a sugar daddy, but Dermot Desmond has put nothing at all financially into this club, right? And yet he owns 33% of the shares, and he has carte blanche control. He's got total control. They can the EGM this year. That have you ever seen that in an EGM? That was scripted. That was what they were waiting for somebody to say something just so that they could use that as an excuse to say, yeah, we're out. You're are just. It's mind blowing.
It's something that was it. Jeanette was the one who was calling out about the PR puff piece that they tried to play the video of basically saying, "Get it to fuck. We want to get down to business."
We like talk.
Now, I've got no personal opinion on Jeanette at all, and what I'm going to say is not meant as a slight on her at all, none at all. But she played and walked straight into what the board wanted to do.
100%. They were waiting for that.
They were waiting for it. It was all scripted. They knew that was going to antagonise the people 100%. In the room. They didn't know it was going to be Jeanette that was going to stand up about it, but they knew it was going to antagonise people, and they wanted to push that narrative. They wanted chaos in there so they could cancel that meeting. That's why Ros Desmond went in with that scripted speech by his dad. He knew it was going to cause chaos as well.
100%.
The fact that Law then comes back from adjourning the meeting and basically just turns around and goes, behave, cancel the meeting. It was all scripted. They knew it was going to happen. They knew they were pushing buttons. And a company doing that at an AGM, the board sat there talking to their peers, their fellow shareholders, and that's how they treated them. It is an absolute disgrace, in my opinion.
Name a never mind a football club, name a company that would get away with treating their shareholders like that.
See, the thing is, they don't think of us as shareholders. I'm not going to name names because it was in a company I used to work for. I worked for a company where, see, the people that weren't ops, they thought in their head the ops were they were the people that spent the money. We were the people that made the money. When everybody knows that we're the people that make the money in ops. Whereas it's the same at Celtic Park. They see us as customers who are a pain. That they don't. The tickets today. Somebody messaged the SLO, and the SLO come back saying, "Yeah, there was a small disruption. A small disruption. You couldn't reassign tickets on the website."
Well,
so
don't get me started about the tickets, right, James? Because it's like it was a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to get a ticket for the St Mirren game for my dad. It was letting me onto the site. It said tickets were still available, yet, but you know when it gets to that stage where you can select your seat. All the seats were greyed out. So I phoned the ticket office and they say, "Oh, tickets are sold out." So why is the site not been updated yet? Oh, you must have went on at a time when there was others on there getting full.
It's just amateur. Aye. The last bit I'll say on it before we kind of near the end of the podcast, and it's something that I'll maybe bring up in another week's podcast, is compare in fact, there's 2 points I could make here. You mentioned earlier, James, obviously about the 20-23% of our wage structure. Now, when we post results in our annual reports, we don't report that wage as 20-23%. We report that as 40, 50, 60%, whatever it is. But we do this magical thing. It's not a bad thing per se. It's nothing dodgy.
No.
But we lump everybody's wage
Aye.
into one. So that's directors' wages, well, payments to directors, all staff at levels, all staff at hospitality, retail, kiosks, ticket office, museums, everybody, players, the whole shebang, everybody. I saw somebody post, might have been on Twitter the other day as well. No, it was on Reddit actually. That we actually employ the most staff in like the top 100 clubs or something like that. It's something weird, but it's like actually like we employ a ridiculous amount of staff. It's like actually that's all the staff. Anybody who vaguely gets a paycheck from Celtic FC, that's all of them. And we do the same with that wage thing. But the actual football wage, and this is where I trust the guys at Business of Sport podcast, the numbers might be slightly out, but I don't imagine the point is off target sort of thing, but the numbers might be slightly out. But we pay so little. I've actually lost my tangent what I was going to say there in my 2 points. But we pay so little there compared to other clubs that we can push that boat out. Yet at board level, not board level, but I've lost my train, guys. I'm going to just wrap that there before I stumble on any further. But
in short, fuck the board.
Listen, see if we had £100 million in the bank and the Huns had £100 million in the bank, right? They would spend 150 million, we would spend 50.
That's my point going to be. Yeah.
We've
got all this money, yet we don't actually employ the staff in the right place. So this is going to be another podcast that I'll eventually do anyway, is that comparatively, ignore all the extra staff that we're alluding to there. See for staff fitness, let's talk fitness. We have 4 people covering all our fitness aspects across the entire club. One's the head of the medical department, Tim Williamson. 2 are fitness coaches, a Curry and Andy Bowley or something, I can't remember his name. And another Curry who's on the medical side of it as well, but doesn't do much. 4 people, 2 in fitness, 1 head of the department, and another one just floating around. The 3 guys that aren't Tim Williamson have been in position for anywhere between, I think, 8 and 16 years, and they're not older than me. And I'm 40 this year. I think one might be 41. And they've all been in position for about anywhere between 9 and 16 years, which tells you how young they would have been when they first came to Celtic as fitness people.
Yeah.
They've just walked out of education. They've walked out of a sports science university degree and stumbled into a Celtic job in some form.
It's hardly surprising, man. Look who
those
in charge of.
That's it. It's just fine because those 2 fitness guys are dealing with our injuries right now, and we wonder why it's a short. So my point is, we are so understaffed against our peers of other clubs. It's ridiculous. But what are we doing with it? All that money again?
It's just. I mean, I'm just learning about that, Anthony. I'm not at least a bit shocked. Look at our recruitment and scouting the past kind of 3 or 4 seasons. When Mark Lawwell, Peter Lawwell's son, was named head of recruitment a few years back, I just looked at it and going, this club has got no vision. We've got a board who just want to keep it in the family.
Lack of vision.
As part of that fitness team, it's 2 Currys. I've not Googled it enough to figure it out, but I'll bet you any money they're related to each other.
Aye. The lack of vision, again, I don't want to keep talking about Rangers, right? But Danny Rowe came in and identified very quickly, we need a set piece coach, right? We got a set piece coach in, and now they're actually them and Hearts are both who also have a set piece coach. They're the top percentile in Scotland, which we both for goals created from set pieces. We are near the bottom. We have no set piece coach.
Do you mind when John Kennedy first became a coach many moons ago, and we all were like, "Oh, well, he must be the defensive coach because he was a defender."
And he wasn't.
What was it? Lennon came out and basically says, "No, he's not a defensive coach. There's no specialities within the coaching team." Okay, fair enough. We still assume that there's a defensive.
He's going to be coaching defending.
He's going to coach defensively to some degree. That's just a lazy assumption on our part. But do you remember when Damien Duff came in as a coach? And he was one of the few times that coaches came in and you knew, even without it being coached, you knew he was coaching the wide players because you saw the fucking difference it made. Bringing somebody in a position. Again, this is for me last point before I do wrap it up, guys. you can jump in if you do want to. I will keep us going a bit longer if you want to. But comparatively to, again, I know we're not going to be at this absolute level, but see clubs like Benfica's, your Milans, your Barcelona's, again, not expecting us to be equal to those kind of clubs. But see, if you just look at transfer market, I know it's not the most accurate of things of all time, but if they get a percentage of errors wrong with a Celtics report, they'll probably get percentages of errors wrong with these other clubs. So, pinch of salt, but all relative. These other clubs have upwards and over 70 staff covering recruitment, analysis, fitness, medicals, doctors, yada, yada, yada. You can get them all up. Just don't count the board members guys on that page, but you can count them up in the staff pages of these websites. Celtic have 23. We are about a third staffed from basically the rest. If we want to be in the last stages of the Champions League or pushing for winning the Europa, we've got about a third of the staff that they do. It's ridiculous. Understaffed.
We are a football club run by people who still think the transfer market operates like it's 2006.
I make the joke. I make the joke because we do the tickets for our bus, and I do the joke that our ticket offices ran like Mrs. Megan's pie shop, right? That's what our ticket offices ran like. It's and the most annoying thing about everything about what you're saying right down is it's never their fault. See, no matter what happens. Mm-hmm. It's never their fault. It's a website crashed, or it's Paul Tidsdale done this, or it's it's never the board's fault. We're right. It's Brendan Rodgers' narcissism. We're right. It's never the board's fault. It's never their fault. It's always you don't know what you're talking about. You're expecting too much. We can't win every. Well, you know what? We could win every year. And I wouldn't get bored there.
I would never get bored of winning.
No.
Now, people will say it's entitled, but see over a course of 38 games in a season, league campaign, Celtic should win this league.
Aye.
The year that we don't should be an anomaly, and it should be because we've either, as it's happening now and in the COVID season, we've really fucked up.
Aye.
At that point, heads should roll because of how bad it is. Or the odd time that maybe another team gets really lucky. Leicester, Hearts this season have been consistent. They're not. We should still be better than them. We should still
100%.
be better than Karate. But Hearts, all credit where it is due.
They've been consistent as.
Right. And look, and Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they all have a policy where they said if we're not top of the league by, I think it's usually December, January, the manager goes.
Yeah.
We should be the same. But when you think about, I know we're not those clubs, right? But on scale-wise...
We are in Scotland. We are in Scotland.
Exactly. Like the gap between, say, Barcelona and Deportivo or Valladolid or something like that, that's the same as between Celtic and, say, Kilmarnock or St Mirren. So I'm sick of hearing the entitled word when...
it's not entitled. And you know what is entitled? Entitled is sitting on your arse and not spending money, thinking that the league's going to win regardless of winning, spending money. Entitled is sitting on your arse, not funding a team, thinking, "Oh fuck it, we can beat Karate Almaty anyway. We didn't need to spend money on it." That's fucking entitled. I'm not.
But that's even every year.
Football happens, but I'm not entitled to think that over a course of 38 games in a season, Celtic should fucking win the league.
Listen, you can go back to the 2000s and us playing near Beaton in the Champions League qualifiers at centre half. Because we weren't, we weren't going to spend any money until we knew what one we were going to be in. And you get bullshit. We want to know, players want to know what tournament they're going to be playing in. Bullshit. You pay the players money and they'll come no matter where you're playing.
Pay guys 25-30k to be your starting centre back to make you get to the Champions League. Didn't he say we'll sign you if you? Same thing's happening just now, by the way. Spurs have announced that Zebri's getting.
Yes.
Their job too. You know what that means? Robbie Keane is coming to us because as far as it's all been painted, Robbie Keane has been given a choice of Spurs or Celtic. And Celtic have sat there and says, if you didn't get Spurs, mate, you can come to us. He's not getting Spurs now, so you know what's happening.
But even that's embarrassing to agree, Anthony, that we're waiting to see if Spurs are going to take him first. Fuck Spurs. They're the Aberdeen of England. They're serial bottlers. They've got a big stadium in a big city. That's all they are. They don't win trophies apart from when Ange Postecoglou's in charge, like us.
If Keane wants the job, go fucking get him. See if we wanted. Obviously, I know people will come back and say, but he's no done great in Norwich. See if we wanted Viscarden, just fucking go sign him.
And
6 million, 8 million, 10 million.
I 100% remember reading Viscarden's agent saying he would like to go to Celtic.
We were told the price went 6, 8, 10, 14 million or something stupid like that. Norwich signed him, and it turned out he had a buyout clause of about 9 million.
Aye.
How did we not know about that?
We did. We just didn't want to spend that money.
Ridiculous. Talking of Robbie Keane, he starts in a World Cup 11 up front with Larson because we're now at 4-4-2. I'll run the team back to you both. Norden agree.
Sorry, Anthony. Sorry, throwing off Sparnley box. You mentioned him earlier, Damien Duff.
I don't know if
he didn't play for us. He didn't play for us.
So Kasper Schmeichel in goals. Juranovic, Virgil van Dijk, Mialbi, and Izagiri as a back four. Going with a flat four, we're going with Oxlade-Chamberlain on the right, Key and Rogic in midfield, and Nakamura on the left. And then we're playing Robbie Keane and Henrik Larsson up front.
Do you know what? I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that.
I think I'm happy enough with it without going too in detail with it, but I'm kind of Keane Rogic. I know dynamically probably isn't going to win a midfield battle for us.
No, but I'm thinking would it be?
I'm thinking that, and like if that team somehow existed, that would win a treble at a canter.
I mean, you're going to score about 50 goals between the front two anyway, easy every season. Nakamura's going to get 15, 16 and bloody free kicks. So, yeah,
even Rogic gets at least a dozen.
Aye, and Oxlade-Chamberlain and his peak would come in central and support Key there anyway. And as everybody keeps saying in the comments, play me Albi in midfield. He can just step forward. But yeah, we have been live for 1 hour 42 minutes. We are now approaching 9 o'clock. We're going to wrap it up, guys, unless, and I'm happy to spend another 10 minutes. Anybody wants to bring anything else to the fore?
I'm cool.
All good?
No, we're going to beat Dundee. We're going to win. We're going to go the rest of the season unbeaten. We're going to win a double. We're going to
win every game 1-0, score 7 goals, win a double. We're going to win the double on penalties.
I'll buy you a pint before the St Mirren game, Stevie. Message me and I'll tell you where we're going to be. Right.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you very much for joining me, James, Stevie, and Gavin. If you do listen back, thank you as well for being on with us earlier on. Guys, in the chat, I'm going to actually pop up a little thing, and this is just me being really techie, stupid, and geeky. Above Stevie's head is a wee QR code. Do give it a scan. It is basically going to give you a link to all our social media stuff, which is not very active, but I do promise I will do more with it. If you've enjoyed the show, please do give us the usual likes, follows, subscribes, everywhere you can find us on YouTube, Spotify's and Twitter's and all the rest of it. I do want to push the podcast a wee bit, guys, and try and get us grown. Keep hitting this glass ceiling. I think we're going to do it at some point. But on that note, guys, hail, hail, all the best.